जब मैंने फिल्म मेकिंग स्टार्ट करी थी, सो आई वॉज वन ऑफ दोज पीपल हु थॉट दैट प्री प्रोडक्शन इज़ अ वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम. And I am a completely changed man today. Today, I do not believe that it's a waste of time at all. In fact, in this video, I want to talk about how pre-production saves the day on shoots and how shoots would be like if there was no pre-production. तो जिन्हें नहीं पता कि pre-production क्या होती है, let me tell you in brief. It is the whole process of planning a shoot before you actually go on ground and shoot it. So this involves scripting, conceptualization of the show, planning the short, storyboarding, doing all the research, getting the whole team together and like having a vision before you actually go on ground and shoot it with the final people and actors and all that. In this case, I'm going to take the example of the latest show that I've worked on, Dum Laga Ke India, that just got released yesterday. And थोड़ी खुद की publicity कर रहा हूँ चुपचाप. So it's a non-fiction show. It's a food and travel show. I am going to take you through how we did the pre-production for a show like this. I want to clear one misconception here before we even begin with the video. Mostly we believe कि जो pre-production होती है वो सिर्फ fictional shows या films में use होती है, and non-fiction is like all on ground based और directly हम जाके शुरू कर देते हैं. But believe me, it almost happens all the time when even in non-fiction shows we carry a script with us. We might not completely follow it, but we still do have a script with us. तो shoots पे क्या होता है, most of the people on set are paid per day. So you have to maximize each day and you can't be not sure with what you want to shoot and waste time here and there and then realize कि ओ हमने वो चीज़ ज़्यादा overshoot कर ली और जो चाहिए था वो थोड़ा कम मिला है. So you inherently want to get on set, get on the location with a vision in your mind. You should know कि मुझे क्या चाहिए, कितना चाहिए and what I need to ignore. So what pre-production starts with is conceptualization, research and scripting. So first, when we get started with the project, first we figure out what will be the format of the show or film. कि ये जो मैंने दिखाना है, is it going to be a host based thing? Are there going to be guests on the show? If there are going to be guests, उनका कितना role है? For how many days are we going to have these actors available? And if we have them locked already or not? तो ये सारी चीज़ें एक इनकी एक रफ सी इमेज लेके वी स्टार्ट विद कंसेप्चुलाइजिंग द शो कि अच्छा ठीक है, वी कैन हैव दैट ओके द शो विल ओपन एट एन आइकॉनिक सिटी. तो वो सिटी कौन सा होगा, देन वी रिसर्च ऑन दो सिटीज़ कि अच्छा ठीक है, वी हैव ऑल दीज ऑप्शंस. सो इन दिस केस वी वर मेकिंग अ शो दैट्स अराउंड फूड एंड ट्रैवल्स, सो वी न्यू दैट ओके फूड नीड्स टू बी एन important part of that city. Then the show was sponsored by Biryani by Kilo and we had biryani as our focus. So we considered the cities that have some sort of expertise in biryani. So we narrowed down on these cities and we figured out कि हर city पे क्या एक perspective रहेगा on biryanis and food. अब उन cities को final करने के बाद we went on a research recce. तो इसमें we have the creative producer with us, there's the director, there's also the writer, but not in all cases. In our shoot's case, there wasn't the writer with us at that time, but she was remotely involved with whatever was going on, so you're giving her live updates every day. And there was also one of the DOPs there so that he could see it from a visual point of view कि क्या कैसे करने वाले हैं. Now on this research recce, our main goal was कि हमने जो इंटरनेट पे रिसर्च करी है, जो हमने जगह आइडेंटिफाई करी है, are they worth shooting or not? So we went to each place, we scheduled meetings with the owners of those places, the chefs and all that. और हमने वहाँ जाके देखा, first of all, if the place is nice enough, good enough to be presented on camera, if the owner or whoever is going to be talking and representing that place is good on camera or not, can they hold up a conversation, because eventually it is a show and if it is not engaging enough, then it does not get to be on screen. And that is also the reality that a place might be very good, but if it's not really presentable or such, so there are lesser chances of it coming on the camera on the show. It's not always the case. There are sometimes places, in fact even in our show, in Kolkata's episode, there's a biryani place which is by the footpath and it is not at all a restaurant or a outlet or anything like that. It's just a guy selling biryani on the footpath, but still, because the story was so engaging and that we chose to take that place. Mostly we do prefer that okay, the place should be presentable enough, the person should be nice enough, decent enough to hold a conversation on camera. Okay, so I'll give you a fun fact. I'm a vegetarian, but this show that I was making on biryani, so biryani is a non-vegetarian dish. So for the research of this show, which means for 2 weeks, I had turned into a non-vegetarian and मैं दिन की कम से कम भी 3-4-5 बिरयानीज खा रहा था. Don't ask what my stomach felt for the next 10 days because it was quite upset being a pure vegetarian and suddenly shifting to eating non-veg. But my point behind shifting to all this non-veg was that I like being the director, I need to understand कि मैं ये show बना किस चीज़ पे रहा हूँ, and if that biryani is good enough to be even be in the show or not. तो ये सब चीज़ें थोड़ा सा अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए I thought that okay, I think it is going to be worth it enough to turn into a non-vegetarian for a while. तो ये सारा identify करके, and then there was also one DOP with us, so he was going around figuring out कि कौन सी जगह is worthy enough of shooting or not. And on this show I was only directing, so I was not really looking at much of the visual part of things. I mean, I was still overlooking, but I wasn't shooting anything here. So everything that you see in this show is entirely shot by Neil Jain and Shanu Verma. So all credits to them. And there's also been some patchwork which some other people have shot, but I don't know them, so sorry, missing out their names right now. तो ये सारी research करने के बाद we share all that information with our writer, and then the writer goes through everything and then she weaves it all in a narrative, in a story, जो फिर उसके बाद वो एक script लिखती है. Now this script is not entirely followed on a show, but why we still go in with a script even on a non-fiction show is that we need to be sure of what we want to get. It's a great thing for the actors to know कि अच्छा ये सारी sequence about 3-4 मिनट की होने वाली है, and this is the amount of information that we need to convey. और क्या होता है set पे ना, there's too much of chaos and like so many things going on that you might miss the points, and you don't want to do that when you're shooting a show and it's a high stake thing and it's gonna, like, so many people and so much money is involved in making it, so you don't want to miss out things and make silly mistakes, so you always want to get in with a script. तो इसके बाद we go for a tech recce. Now all of this that I'm telling you about is a part of pre-production. ये सब shoot से पहले हो रहा है. So we go for a tech recce. Tech recce में क्या होता है? We have our cameras in place and we are we have our cameras in place. We have locked the places that we'll be shooting at. वो सब बिल्कुल narrow down हो चुका है. So instead of trying biryanis and doing all that hit and trial process, now we are sure कि हमने इस जगह पे shoot करना है. यहाँ पे ये actor होगा, यहाँ पे इतने लोग होंगे, ये सब होगा. Now we are figuring out the logistics and the technicalities at that location. For example, if we are shooting at a restaurant, so we are looking at the light कि अच्छा कितने बजे यहाँ पे हम शूट करने वाले हैं, इस टाइम पे लाइट कहाँ से आएगी, so what are the lights that we are going to need, what are the cameras that we'll be shooting here with, how many people from the crew do we need, क्या चीज़ कैसे मैनेज होगी, क्या क्या लॉजिस्टिकल प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकती हैं जिनको टैकल करने के लिए, व्हाट एल्स विल वी नीड, आइडेंटिफाई कि अच्छा इफ़ द एक्टर इज़ मेकिंग एन एंट्री तो एंट्री कहाँ से होगी, व्हाट इज़ द मीटिंग पॉइंट, वहाँ किस पॉइंट पे बैठ के वो बात करेंगे, उस पॉइंट पे कैमराज कहाँ पे प्लेस्ड होंगे. This tech recce is like the final rehearsal of the show, and this is where we are seeing everything without the actors. So यहाँ पे हम सारा शो एक तरह से शूट कर रहे हैं without really the final cameras and the actors. So this is like a creative visualization of what is finally going to be. So ये सारी tech recce और planning करके then we finally move ahead to shooting the show. और ये सारे अपने प्री प्रोडक्शन के प्रोसेस में there's also a lot of back and forth with the client as well, क्योंकि in this case Biryani by Kilo was the sponsor, so the client also sees how the client is being portrayed, the brand is being portrayed, and there's some back and forth कि अच्छा ठीक है, maybe sometimes we are putting the brand too in your face, तो उसको थोड़ा टोन डाउन करना, और maybe in some episodes or in some segments there's just no presence of the brand at all, so we have to balance all those things out and create a very holistic view of what we want to show. तो ये प्री प्रोडक्शन होती है रफली, and this is also like the pre-production for one show that also it's a non-fiction show. In a fictional show it is way more intense, way more deep and detailed. Non-fiction में हम थोड़ा सा एकदम ऐसा लीवे छोड़ देते हैं कि especially in the travel space, क्योंकि there are a lot of things जो आपको रेकी के टाइम पे देखी थी but that you might not spot on the day of the shoot, and there are some things जो आपको शूट के डे पे ऐसी मिलेंगी which you can't miss because you feel like they're such a great addition to whatever you're shooting. Now, I want to say that I was the person who would always look down upon pre-production. I was like, I'll go to a place and I'll let the place dictate what it wants to get out of me. And I still do that and I still believe in that. But when you're making a large scale thing, you need to have it all planned out. You need to have a vision. And more than anything else, there are so many people on the show that you have to share that vision with every single person. If the vision is not shared, तो फिर जो भी तुम बनाने जा रहे हो वो कोई सामने वाले को नहीं पता कि तुम्हें क्या चाहिए, तुम्हें कैसे हेल्प करे वो. सो दे आर ट्राइंग टू डू डिफरेंट थिंग्स एंड देन इट बिकम्स अ ग्रेट क्योस. कभी कभी क्या होता है, नो मैटर हाउ मच प्री प्रोडक्शन यू डू, समथिंग हैपन्स दैट इज़ कम्प्लीटली अनएक्सपेक्टेड एंड यू जस्ट कांट टैकल इट. हमारे साथ ये हुआ था. So in the Kolkata episode, we had a schedule for 2 days of shoot. First day we shot and things went well. We got what we wanted. For the next day we had 3 outdoor locations and 2 of those locations got cancelled. First day के end पे our line producer, the person who's responsible for taking care of all the permissions and execution, and he's a local there. तो वो बंदा हमारे पास आता है and when we had announced backup, he comes up to us and he's like कि guys यहाँ पे riots हो गए हैं and 2 out of those 3 locations of ours are cancelled. And we were like, we could have never predicted that. And it was around 9 o'clock at night and we did not even know how to go for recce and how to find a solution to this problem, because these 2 locations were our main locations. They were the establishing locations for Kolkata. And ये सब राइट्स के सीन में तो you can't even take a risk. The thing was that now we had to figure out how to tackle this problem. उसी time then we figured out, then all of the team sat together and we were going to shoot with Arman Malik, so we also sat together with him and Ranveer Brar, of course. And we were figuring out कि हम इसको कैसे tackle कर सकते हैं, how can we change the narrative so we don't need to go to those places where we were earlier going to go, and instead what can we do so that we can save the show. So we were looking for indoor locations. तो अब मैं ज़्यादा नहीं बताऊँगा because I don't want to give spoilers, but that is how we tackled and changed the narrative. So earlier there was barely going to be any indoor location in Kolkata episode, but now I think there are 2-3 indoor locations there. So that is how things change and how pre-production doesn't always save you, because it can't predict कि कोई riots होने वाले हैं या some disaster or calamity is going to happen. But since you've done the research beforehand and you've seen 10-20 places in that city, so when these problems arise, at least in the back of your head you know that okay, if not this place we might go for that or something else. तो ये सब does come in handy, और ये shoots के time पे it gets way more crucial. But I also want to say that if you're shooting your own thing, don't feel that you can go in without pre-production, because pre-production always helps. Even if you're going on a family trip, if you just research a little about that place and what are the things that it offers and what are the better times to go there, then maybe you can plan out your day with your family that you're visiting. कि अच्छा ठीक है, this place has a great sunrise view, so I'll go there first in the morning, and there might be some other place जो आप शाम को कर रहे हो, and जो indoor places हैं that you can do in the afternoon, because the light outdoors is not the best at that time. So you can plan things out that way, and it depends on how much you're shooting and कितना आगे जाना है, कितना scale पे तुम shoot कर रहे हो. So you can either go and do the recce, then come back and plan it out and then go for the final shoot, or you can just give like 2-3 hours or a day before you are actually going to shoot there, और उसी में तुम सारा plan out करके उसको execute करो. Okay, I think it's a long video. I think I've shared a lot of information in this one. I hope it helps you. तो ठीक है, this was about pre-production. Let me know what else would you want to know about this shoot and how did we go about it. And not just this shoot, but in about filmmaking in general, filmmaking or creativity or anything that you feel I might be able to help you with. Baki, if it's a long video then please omit, but I just had so much to share. And if you feel ये मच्छर मेरी लाइफ क्यों ख़राब कर रहे हैं, and if you feel कि तुम्हें इस वीडियो से थोड़ी सी भी information मिली है, if you got to learn anything that you did not probably know before, then please consider either commenting something here, क्योंकि मुझे comments पसंद है, likes का I don't really mind. And if you feel like I am sharing good information and that I'm worth a subscribe, then do subscribe. Doesn't really change anything for me except boosting my ego and maybe motivating me a little to do more of this.